Good morning, Delaware. This is DETV's Good Morning Wilmington, and I am your special host, Kristin Holden. And with me,
Jordan Hines. Good to see everyone and welcome. It is the day after Mother's Day.
yes!
And happy belated Mother's Day,
Why, thank
Mom.
You. Thank you.
How old is your daughter again?
She is 11.
11.
Yeah,
Wow.
I can't believe it. Crazy.
And what school is she going to?
She goes to Lancashire right now.
Okay.
5th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, she's giving me the blues,
Nice.
6th grade. Oh,
Nice.
my gosh.
Well, so how did you celebrate Mother's Day?
Well, in my head, I booked myself a room at a very swanky boutique hotel.
I said, how did you celebrate? And you said in your head.
In my
okay,
head.
if that's how mothers are doing it
Yes,
now.
I booked myself a room at one of my favorite swanky boutiques and boutique hotels, and I stayed the entire weekend. And I ate, drank, and I was merry. It was awesome. But that was all in my head.
Oh, in your head?
Yeah.
Oh, my. Well,
yeah.
Well, I gave my Nana some roses, gave her a hug, and told her I loved her. And Max just went in the room and said, "We love you," and we kept it moving. That's how we do things.
And see, listen, I get flowers for Mother's Day.
Okay.
It's awesome. But like, I think we need some fresh ideas for what to do in the future.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I feel like
I
flowers,
think that
the card, it's all
the way
kind
you
of played
spent
out.
Mother's Day in your head was some good suggestions so people can prepare next year.
Listen, get Mom a weekend stay.
Okay.
Because we just want to escape, okay?
Okay.
I do at least.
That's one idea. I'm always the flower guy for my Nana. You know, I'm like, Nana, here you go. She likes flowers.
Give flowers while you can.
I'd get you while they can smell them.
That's right.
That got to do that. What's another idea? What do moms like?
I think it's all about the experience. I'm an experienced person, so you know, give me an experience. So that's, you know, the boutique hotel idea. That's where that comes from. Book me on, I don't know, send me on a trip, or give me a massage, or you know, a spa weekend.
Nana on a trip. Okay, well,
Nana likes experiences too.
I'm sure she does. So
Nana got experience too.
I'm gonna hear this later today. Sorry, Nana, because the flowers weren't good enough. Good Lord.
I'm sure she appreciated them. I appreciated what I you know, my flowers, my dinner. It would have been nice to have an experience. It's a great idea for next year. Wink, wink.
Okay. Well, you know, today we are definitely going to have some awesome guests. We are going to be interviewing Representative Sherry Dorsey-Walker.
Yes, the illustrious.
Did you hear about her bill?
Oh my gosh, House Bill 198.
Yes. She is pushing for Black history to be taught in our books in schools, and I'm sure your daughter would like that.
Okay.
See some representation.
It's something special, exactly, to be able to identify with you and what you look like.
Our next guest that we have right after that, we have County Exec Matt Meyer. He has been like, you know, on some saving the society type captain, I don't know
he's
what,
like
but I'm
the
gonna figure out a new
ultimate
name.
humanitarian.
He is.
I love it. I love it.
That's
He's all about service, and he's so humble with it. I love it.
He goes above and beyond, I think. I don't know how he does it all. He definitely, I'm sure you'll hear all the great stuff that he's been doing and how he's getting it done, because I'm sure his tech going to ask that, like, what are you doing to do all of this? So, and just even talking about County Exec, in the midst of COVID, you know, we've got a lot of updates to give you guys here in Wilmington. I recently just heard the governor we're about to move into some like...
We are, May 21st.
Yeah, is that when?
May 21st. We're about to have our COVID restrictions loosened.
Hey, we can be... I'm vaccinated. You vaccinated? See,
no.
You know what? We're going to stay right here. Y'all see that, right? We're going to get her fixed. It's all right.
Maybe we can, you know, help dispel some of the rumors and myths about it, and maybe I will.
I was on the fence at first, too.
Yes.
But in order for everybody to, you know, we get back to this normal.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to get it situated.
I want to come out and play.
I know. But in the midst of all that, I know masks will still be required.
Yes.
Restaurants are still going to have the expectation of you to wear your mask if you're walking around.
And then like bars, you know, the indoor-outdoor seating option, of course, bars and restaurants.
Right.
They'll have to abide by that as well.
Right, and you still got to keep your social distance, even though we're getting back to normal. You know, 6 feet. That's how we are right now, as you can see. Keep your distance, but it's all right. Still my girl. You know, we're gonna keep our distance. And then I think they're having some more requirements where, you know, depending on the location, depending on the venue, you can still have up to like 250 people.
250, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited. And it's summertime.
I know, exactly.
It's
and
summertime.
you know, barbecue season,
yes.
Cookouts.
Right. Speaking of cookout.
Yep.
Guess who's invited to the cookout?
Listen.
Glenn Close. Did you watch the Oscars?
We're going to do the debut.
The butt. Glenn Close did the butt.
The debut.
On the Oscars. That was amazing. She's invited to the cookout.
She can come to any cookout. All right.
Yes, she did that. And then it's perfect because I know Wilmington has the Clifford Brown Jazz Fest.
I know.
You got the Greek Festival. I missed all of that last year. So I'm really looking forward.
I am too. Festival food, just being outdoors and being able to see people that I haven't seen in so long.
My friends, the millennials, they look at me crazy because I'm at a jazz fest. That's where I have my, me, I'll turn up and bop in a two.
Listen, get your little two-step on.
I will do that. So I'm looking forward to getting back to some normalcy. So, and then what else is going on? UD and Del State.
Yes, it's mandatory to return to school in the fall. You have to be vaccinated. I actually think that's really good, because you're going to be living on campus, and it's a very great safety precaution.
Yeah. Now, UD, though, they're not, I don't think they're requiring their faculty so much. But
no, the students definitely.
The students definitely, both at UD and Del State, are going to definitely have to get that done. And colleges are definitely requiring vaccination. It's not a practice. It's just everyone needs to do it. It's almost becoming a passport kind of thing.
Exactly, yes, especially for international travel.
Right, there you go. And it's summertime. I've already booked my flight.
Jamaica.
I'm going to Greece at the end of the summer. And they were like, listen, before you come, get your vaccination.
I'm going to need
so I'm having a passport and my CDC card, so to show that I'm vaccinated.
I'm going to have to jump on the vaccination.
It's all right. I'm not judging because I was just here at DETV talking to Ive and Matt Meyer, and we were just like, or more so me. I was a little sheepish about it, but I finally sucked it up and got it done.
I think I just need a little more advice or insight to help me feel a little more comfortable.
We're going to call a doctor, and we're going to help with those myths.
Fine,
I got you.
fine.
I got you. I got the best
call
person.
the doctor.
Call the doctor. We're going to call the doctor later on. Watch. And then, I don't know if you heard, but the City of Wilmington Fire Chief.
Oh my gosh, Chief Donahue, right?
Yes. He just announced his retirement.
Oh, on Friday?
Was that Friday? Yeah, it was Friday. Yeah. He just announced his retirement.
He's been in service for like 37 years.
I remember when I was working in City Council, he was working with the fire department at the time. So, and then he became chief, I think. He's been chief for the past 4 years, I believe.
The past 4 years, yeah.
Yep.
Indeed. Did you know his father was fire chief?
What?
Yeah.
They got legacy in there.
I know, right?
That was a legacy. So, well, Chief Donahue, thank you for your service.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate all that you have done, and I'm sure City of Wilmington representatives, they appreciate all that you've done as well. And then, how many years has he served?
37.
Yeah.
I believe it's 37 total. Yeah.
37? No? Well.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, indeed. That's awesome.
Now, what's this I'm hearing? Now, you into football more than I am, so what's been going on? I know that's our favorite producer's stadium.
That's
Mr. Sam.
I know.
And Sam was like, y'all better mention what's been going on. So I'll leave that to you.
No, so Delaware has a semi-pro soccer team, right?
I did not know that.
Okay, Delaware has a semi-pro soccer team.
Okay.
So over at the Abacino field, it's newly remodeled. It looks really nice. I go jogging there sometimes.
You jog?
Yes, I'm about that fitness life.
Okay. Moms out here having swanky Mother's Day.
That's right.
And then on top of it, they are jogging.
Indeed, yeah.
All right.
But no, Sam, our favorite producer, so he went to the soccer game over the weekend to check it out. So, Sam, tell us about it.
Obviously, the score on the pitch wasn't what we wanted, but our guys are working hard, and this is still a work in progress, of course. So I'm proud of them for how they battled on the field, of course. Things went really well here. I would say the staff here at Abyssinia Stadium were incredible. The fans were really supportive. Our volunteer crew was incredible today. We couldn't have done it without them. So happy just that we were able to pull this off, and we're going to be doing this, more often coming up, and we're going to get better at it on and off the field.
Well, first let me give a lot of credit to a very good Atlantic City site. For us, again, this is a wake-up call for us. I thought first half was a bit sloppy for us, but we came up strong in the second half, just tweaked a few things, and we pushed. Unfortunately, we didn't get any equalizer yet, but it was a good first game for us, I would say. I think the difference between us and them was just the energy.
A lot of our guys haven't played competitively in a long time, and I think some of it might just be getting back into the flow of things. But I think we battled back, and I think that's important. When you go behind, to kind of not drop your head, and I don't think we dropped our heads, and we got stronger in the second half. We started to figure some things out. So I'm encouraged going forward, and I think we'll be stronger.
And I'm so glad right now to share with you guys our next guest. We have State Representative Sherry Dorsey-Walker. Thanks for joining us,
Thanks
Representative.
for having me.
And I'm so excited to have you here with Kristin and I. Kristin and I are looking forward to talking to you. You've been doing some fun stuff for this state.
I try.
You really have.
I do.
You don't try, you do. She's being humble right now.
You're making history, whatnot.
Yeah, making history for our children and being history in yourself.
And making it look so good.
Yes.
While she looks good.
Like the AKA you are, just stunting with that beautiful pink.
Great.
Look
Yes.
at you.
To God be the glory for
So
using
tell me about House Bill 198.
House Bill 198 adds Black history to the state's curriculum. And the exciting part of it is it's not to be exclusive, and it's not to isolate Black history to the month of February. It is to be inclusive, to infuse Black history into the arts, into science, into math, into every aspect of education. It's already included in certain parts of social studies, but we want to ensure that our children, and all children, have an appreciation for Black culture, because Black history is indeed American history.
It sure is. And you are making history well within your right, being the first Black, correct, for representing your district,
That is
right?
correct.
Representing District 3, is
Amazing.
that correct?
Yes, yes.
I hope you're in those history books when that bill is passed. It's going now where? To the Senate?
Yes.
Okay.
It passed the Education Committee in the House.
Okay.
And it passed in the House, on the House floor, so now we're sending it to the Senate.
Nice.
And it will go through their Education Committee and then ultimately to the Senate floor. And the main goal is to get it on the governor's desk.
Hey,
Yes.
there we
Get that
go.
signature.
There we go.
Yes.
Now, help us understand. Now, you're the primary sponsor in the House.
That is correct.
Now, for those who don't know, who is the primary sponsor in the Senate?
The primary sponsor in the Senate is Senator Tizzy Lockman.
Nice.
Yes.
And Senator Lockman, her position is what on the Education Committee?
She's the vice chair.
She's the vice chair.
Yes,
gotcha,
she is.
Gotcha. Well, this is
Yes.
exciting because you got two people
Yes.
that are making history. We got
Yes.
our first African American woman as our state senator for the 3rd district.
Correct.
And first African American woman for House Representatives of the 3rd district.
Yes.
Making history as primary sponsors of both these bills.
Yes.
You know what? I've always admired you because you have continued to be a staunching supporter, not just as our representative for the 3rd district in Wilmington, but when you even served in city council. How was that? How's been the transition from city council to now?
I'll tell anyone, if you can serve on the Wilmington City Council successfully, at least for one term, you can be president of the United States of America.
Well, I think it's just service. You do that just like it's
Yes.
effortlessly, whether you're on city
Yes.
council or not, right?
Yes.
Why did you want to get into service?
Well, I've been
Or
serving.
public service, I
I've been
should say.
serving all my life.
Okay.
And I've watched those before me serve, and watching my own mother and father serve. My father was in the military. My mother is an educator, retired educator, and just watching my grandparents serve. And everyone around me lives a life of service. So it was just a natural fit. However, this was not the plan that I had in place. So I know when we decide we're going to tell God our plans.
Wouldn't do that.
Talk about it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Talk
That's
about
why
it.
I'm laughing,
Talk about
because it becomes pretty comical. But it's interesting because I actually thought that I would be the person who, when my dad was alive, we would go to community meetings together. He started taking me when I was about 8, and we would walk the community and get people elected. And then by the time I was 12, we would go to meetings. And the one thing that my parents instilled in me is they said, never let your voice be silent, but don't use your voice to be judgmental of those who don't have a voice.
That's good. That's good.
And that always stuck with me. And it's interesting because I don't mind sharing with you because it's a part of House Bill 198. I actually represent the district when my father came home from serving this country proudly in the military and decided that he wanted to buy a home for his beautiful bride, my mommy. And what was interesting is they were denied housing in the very district that I currently represent.
Wow. And to think, yesterday was Mother's Day. We got a mother here, right here, co-hosting with Kristin.
Yes. Happy
So-
Mother's Day to all the mothers.
you.
Thank you, thank you.
What
thank
did you do to celebrate?
Every day is Mother's Day for me. All the children in the community are my children, all my
Yes.
nieces and nephews, so Mother's Day is every day. And we make Mother's Day every day in our household for our mother.
That's
Yes,
special. That is
yes.
very special.
And you
love
are
that.
special, so
Thank
happy Mother's Day to you.
I appreciate it. Same to
Yes.
you. Indeed.
Thank you. And to Jordan, happy Mother's Day to Nana.
I will share that. She'd love to hear that. What are some things that when you were growing up, I'm curious to know, that you did not see in your history books? Because this bill is really monumental. I don't want to downplay it at all. It's very monumental. I'm curious to know, what did you, when you were growing up in school, I know you're a St. E's grad.
Yes.
I'm a Cab Calloway grad. It's okay.
Oh, 12 years.
But I'm curious, what did you see in your history books that you would like to see now?
What
That
I
was
didn't.
different. What you did not see. I'm
Right.
sorry. Correct.
No problem. What I did not see was a reflection of myself. I knew that my history did not start with slavery, and I know that I'm a descendant of kings and queens. And how I knew that and know that is in my house we had the World Book encyclopedias, and then we also had the Black History encyclopedias. And our parents and our uncles would have us to write essays about Black history. And we had to actually learn the history. So I just felt like this is a natural fit. Why not sponsor a piece of legislation where every child should have the same experience I had growing up in my home?
I absolutely love this. To give the cliche saying, children are our future. So having this implemented, and we're going to start with kindergarten age kids all the way through 12th grade.
Yes.
That's amazing. That way they're able to go and be great and take it off into the world, My question to you, do you feel there will be enough time? I'm curious how it will be packaged in such a way to where it's more than just slavery or Harriet Tubman or, the typical Black historical figures that we always learn about. How do you see this playing out?
It's an excellent question. The interesting part about all of this is we worked very closely with the Delaware Coalition of Black Students, and we also worked very closely with the Department of Education and all the different entities in education in our state. And so everyone had a voice and everyone had a seat at the table, because I felt like, and I feel like, when you work on legislation and you involve everyone, that is one of the best ways to get things done, because people feel like they're a part of the process. So one of the things that we did is we wanted to ensure that the educational process is inclusive and that our children, all children, can understand Black history. What ultimately happened last summer with Black Lives Matter, and we're talking about the peaceful protests, and go back to before we were all born in the 60s, think about how when people came together because they decided to break down the barriers and work together to make a difference. That's the same thing that happened this past summer, and that's what's continuing to happen. And the scripture tells you, and a child will lead them. So the children will be able to help educate their parents. It was children who told their parents and grandparents and asked their parents and grandparents to vote for President Barack Obama.
Yes.
And that's how we ended up getting our first African-American president.
Yes.
And now, one of my sorority sisters,
Talk about it.
hallelujah,
Talk about it. Talk about it.
is currently the vice president
MVP.
Yes.
of the United
MVP.
States. And you know what's so interesting about that? Ethel Hedgeman Lau, on January 15th in 1908, think about this, what Black women had to endure in 1908, established the first Greek lettered sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And fast forward to 2020. Now we have a vice president who is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. The interesting part is now you have a woman who is a member of the sorority who passed House Bill 198. And those who are members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated will get 198 because we can't do 4 numbers for bills. So it's 198.
I love it.
I'm loving the lineup right there.
Yes.
Be ye always ready.
Classy, cute, and intelligent. You can't, it's a triple trifecta. You're just knocking it out the park. I love that. And you know, one thing that I also admire about you is that you and I share a lot of similar mentors. And what I love is that you acknowledge not just those that have come before, but those that are young and leading the way now.
Yes. Much like yourselves.
I'm trying, and I'm got 2 ears to listen more with and 1 mouth to speak less with.
Hallelujah.
But when it's time to speak up and stand up, we'll do that. You know, as much as we're talking about Black history and wanting to see more representation, I hope to see you in those books because you are that true representation. And you know, those individuals that were probably at the table, I'm sure you would like to see them in those books too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was very kind of you to say.
Well,
I appreciate
speaking facts.
It helps to bring, you know, matters full circle, to be able to see someone that you can identify with. It's so inspirational. You know, off camera, I shared with you one of my mentors. She was an AKA. In high school, you know, she let me know there's no limit to what there is I can do as long as I put my mind to it. So to see someone with great excellence like yourself doing something so monumental as introducing House Bill 198, it's amazing. It is. And I look forward to the children that will get to experience this growing up, taking it home to their families and allowing the world to become a better place, you know?
Absolutely.
Before we close, I wanted to know, what can we as the community, your constituency, what can we do to help with this bill as it gets pushed to the Senate now? What can we as just voters and people that are advocates to support this bill, what can we do?
Outstanding question. Please reach out to your senators because the bill is in the Senate at this point, and let them know that this is important, that Black history is an important part of our history and it does need to be taught. You know, I'll share this with you. My nephew attends St. Elizabeth, so that's our second generation at St. E's now. And he has an educator who, and pretty much all the educators, I can't say one negative thing about my experience at St. Elizabeth's because my educators poured into me. Right. But the one thing that really sticks out for me as it pertains to my nephew, and the educator's name is Mrs. Terranova, I do not mind saying so. When it came time to give books to the students as a gift, and she gave the books, and it was very appropriate, it was age appropriate, and it was also culturally appropriate. And to this day, when I read to him, and we read often, we're part of the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten at the Newcastle County Library, and he'll say, Aunt Sherry, can we read the books where the children look like me?
Oh.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, and he's been saying that since he was 4.
Wow.
He's 5 now. So think about what happens. It's not a matter of being exclusive. It's a matter of being inclusive. And when I watch him interact with his friends at St. Elizabeth's, they love each other. And they haven't been told not to love each other. And so that's what we need to do. We need to go at this with the mind of a child. And with the maturity of the adults, but with the mind of a child, and with a willingness to ensure that we are literally teaching the real history, the real Black history. What will ultimately happen, we'll break down the barriers, we'll start to understand each other, we won't have fears, and our world will be a better place.
Representative, help me understand, what's your feelings about State Senator Sarah McBride's new bill, the paid family leave medical bill? Could you help me explain that? And make sure I got the title right. I think I twisted that title a little bit, so help me out. I want to make sure everyone gets that correct.
Well, I would love for you to have her on to discuss the bill.
Trust and believe, we will have her on. That is my alumni. You know, we are CAB graduates. So.
Yes, yes, and I think it'd be amazing to have her come and speak about the bill. I did sign on as a co-prime sponsor because I truly believe that when the family when we're able to help take care of one another, it makes life so much easier. I have family who live in England and have an aunt who was diagnosed with cancer. by God's grace, she is doing extremely well, because what ultimately happens when you are diagnosed with cancer in England, they pay someone to come in and help take care of you. They make sure that you still get your paycheck. So the stress of money was a non-issue. And I truly believe that because she did not have to stress about finances, that's why she's still with us to this day.
Wow.
I believe that in my heart, mind, body, and spirit, obviously prayers, but just knowing that, and knowing the people here in Delaware who have been diagnosed with cancer, and they may not have been able to tell us the story on the other side because they were so stressed with bills, so stressed with taking care of the family, still providing for everyone around them. And why can't we adopt that model that they have in England? And Senator McBride is bringing us one step closer with this piece of legislation. Hence why I was more than happy to sign on.
I'm excited to see this bill get passed.
Absolutely.
So is there anything that we can do to help support that bill as well? As
Reach out to your legislators and let them know that the community would like to see this bill passed.
Indeed.
Yeah. And then the latest that I heard too is coming up, we have body cams on our way. How do you feel about that?
That's in June, yeah.
Isn't
That's
that
coming in
up?
June.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm so excited to be sponsoring body-worn camera legislation, House Bill 195 with Senator Darius Brown, and he's priming it in the Senate.
Okay.
And the exciting part about this is having, and again, working with all the entities up and down the state, reaching out to all 48 policing agencies, having conversations during our off season, which don't let anyone tell you that we have off seasons. Don't
Talk about it. Let them know
them-
you are working
don't
24/7. Let them know.
I said, listen, I can tell you, the members of the Delaware Legislative Black Caucus, we don't get a break.
Yeah.
But I'm not complaining. Oh, please don't misunderstand me, because there's so much work that needs to be done for our community and for all communities up and down the state of Delaware. So when you become a state rep and a state senator or any kind of legislator, you represent the entire state. And it's important that we keep that in our minds and keep that in our hearts too. And with this piece of legislation, House Bill 195, every single officer in the state of Delaware will be outfitted with a body-worn camera.
This is really nice.
Yes. And I would like to say a special thank you to Governor Carney for incorporating $3.6 million in his budget so that this can actually happen. Because some of the smaller agencies, policing agencies, their concern was, how do we store the footage? And by Governor Carney providing funds, and Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester, as well as the legislature. And I must say, Attorney General Kathy Jennings has been a gem with whom to work through this process. And she incorporated a portion of her budget, too, to be inclusive of body-worn cameras. This has been a great opportunity to see the goodness in the state of Delaware.
And what I love is that, again, going back to just you as a servant, it's not just about the bill that you're getting passed. You've actively been in the community. I know we just celebrated Mother's Day, but you reach out to your families, to the ones that have lost loved ones.
Yes.
And in this time and moment, I know a lot of people will be, feeling some sigh of relief to know that, this body cam isn't just for constituents, but it's for the police officers as well.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you feel that way, correct?
My whole concern with the body-worn cameras is ensuring that there's transparency and accountability on the part of the constituency as well as the police. This is protection for the police in the community. And that's the part that everyone has to remember. There's a narrative that's been created about police, but I would like to help dispel that narrative. As a West Side woman who has outstanding relationships with WPD and many other policing agencies, but I'm shouting out WPD from the mountaintops because whenever there's an issue in our community and I reach out to them, I can count on them to resolve it in such a way that everyone doesn't necessarily have to go to jail, but we can have conversations. The police, when I first was elected as a city councilwoman, they would walk the streets with me. They saw me walking the streets and they said, listen, we want to go out there and walk with you. And I said, now listen, there's a way we do this.
Teach them.
Right. But I must say, in building those relationships with WPD, and this is my hope throughout the state, those who are interested in community policing, and maybe body-worn cameras will help with this. We had the pilot program for body-worn cameras as well as for community policing in the district. And the beauty of it is, when was the last time you saw children from a community where the children said, we want to do something nice for the police officers because the police started going to their basketball games, their baseball games.
And if I could just even interject, I remember just listening to my grandmother share, there was a time where just the neighborhood police officers, when she was growing up, they knew them, they interacted with them.
Right.
And me growing up, there was a time where we don't talk to police, but now you're seeing that shift change.
Absolutely.
Because, and again, it goes back to more than just the bill, individuals like you bridging that gap so there's no more fear, there's more conversation and transparency.
And that is the hope with the body-worn cameras, that it starts to break down some of these barriers that exist. Cameras are on all the time. You look at Newcastle County Police, and you will not find one Newcastle County police officer who does not like having that camera on at all times, because they now see it as protection. And I must shout them out too. You call Newcastle County Police, and they're there for you as well. Delaware State Police, while our district isn't necessarily their jurisdiction.
Right.
I feel like that we could work feverishly with body-worn cameras to help change the narrative about the community as well as the police.
Well, Representative, I can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate you. You continue being a servant, keep making history, and bring that history to these books for these kids.
Yes.
Because Lord knows we need it.
Yes,
Indeed.
amen.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you.
This has been
Thank
a
you so
pleasure.
much.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for having me.
Thank you so much. We want to give a special thanks to Representative Sherry Dorsey-Walker for all the great work that she's doing, as well as this bill that she is pushing in the Senate. So make sure to look up HB 198. Special thanks again to Representative Dorsey-Walker.
Get excited, Delaware. Coming soon is DETV News on Channel 28. It's a look at what's happening in the first state. We'll have news, sports, health, and we'll keep you informed on local entertainment. It's been long enough. I'm Lauren Wilson. Come on, Delaware, let's do this.
Our next guest, we have County Exec Matt Meyer. How are you, our County Exec? How you doing?
Jordan, Kristin, great to be here.
Thanks,
Hi, Matt.
thanks
Thanks
for
for having
being
us.
here. I feel like County Exec is too formal. Like, you've been out here saving the town, man. You just doing it.
Doing it all.
If you guys call me Matt, it'll be better than what a lot of people call me. So.
County Exec's too formal.
Yeah, that's fine.
You really, no, seriously, like, you have been really, like, an integral part in this COVID that we've been dealing with. Like, can you help us explain from the stories and stuff that you've been seeing and dealing with, how, with all the testing sites?
Well, the first thing is, it's just an honor to serve. I think, once elected, you feel, or I've always felt, a tremendous sense of responsibility for anything going on in the streets. Every time there's a horrendous crime, you cry for the mothers, for the family members. Anytime there's a deadly virus in your community, you just want to do anything you can with any resources at your disposal, both to help people and also to mobilize people and resources. And you know, we've had an opportunity to do that. We're still working on it. We're not out of this situation yet, and we just encourage people to let's keep working together. Let's keep making sure our neighbors are fed. You know, our grandparents and the neighbor who's living alone, who maybe doesn't have family, make sure that they're taken care of physically, mentally, emotionally, and let's work together both to get out of this, and maybe now we're starting to think about how we can get out of this and maybe be a little bit better and stronger.
You know why I like this guy? Because he's so formal and just so humble and
So
just
humble.
It's just like enough. Like, the man is just doing more than the way he makes it seem. Like,
Yes.
A big breakfast.
yeah.
That's all that matters. Eat a big breakfast, kids, and go for a hike every now
He's
and
been doing
then.
a lot. Like, recently, working with him has been, I'm going to take a personal privilege. It's been great working with the County Exec on the Health Equity Committee.
Can I say something about that? Sorry to interrupt you, Jordan, but we got a lot of resources from the federal government.
Right.
You know, thank the Lord, because as you know, I've lived in other places.
Right.
I follow what's going on in Kenya, what we see going on in India. A lot of those places, their federal government has not stepped up and provided resources to local government. Our government has, and I think everybody knows I'm a big Joe Biden fan, but in fairness, it happened last year before Joe was president, now even more so that our Joe is president. But once the resources came, we say, okay, what do we do? We thought we were entering this and we're gonna have to govern without resources. Now we have all those resources, what do we do? And Jordan Hines wrote an amazing opinion piece. in the News Journal that I read, and I said, I have to do something about this. And then 2 people on my staff emailed it to me and said, we need to do something about this. It called on the state to put together a task force. So we, within a few weeks, under Jordan's leadership and thanks to your vision, put together this task force. And there are people today who I really believe are alive, and communities that are a little bit better off because you sat down and wrote that piece.
Well, listen, I'm not the elected. You led that. So this is what I keep talking about, this humbleness.
Something good came out of your opinion.
That's right.
Just
Yeah.
a little bit. But he was the lead on this. It wasn't me. I just wrote a little ditty. But, you've been doing a lot. Can you help us? What's going on with the Potter Station in Middletown? The paramedic station?
For over 10 years, there have been all sorts of disputes and discussions about where a paramedic station should go. I came into office and I said, let's just build this paramedic station. And we decided where to build it. We decided based on where most of the calls were for paramedics. There had never been a paramedic station built in that part of the county, and we just headstrong went and built it. We're doing trying to do a lot of things to balance resources south of the canal. We're building an amazing new library down there, right on Main Street in Middletown. We put our paramedic station a few blocks from there on Broad Street. Again, approximate, closest to where most of the calls come in. We have a nice new park, and a little surprise, we managed to there are 24 retired living paramedics in Newcastle, or 24 living retired Newcastle County paramedics in the world right now. 20 of them showed up to the ribbon cutting on Wednesday, 20 of them. And so while we were there, we named the station after John Potter. John Potter was a paramedic for, close to 40 years. They say he was the first paramedic in Newcastle County. He helped create the statewide paramedic service in 1990, and actually, the day he started, there were riots in the city of Wilmington in the 60s, and a few years in, he responded to a car accident that was Joe Biden's wife and children in 1972, and he was there holding one of
and you
Biden's
named it after him.
And so it's the Potter paramedic station. So I hope when people see that, maybe they'll do a little research and have some appreciation for those amazing heroes that are responding to 911 calls 24/7. Who just are saving lives left and right. Yeah. One of the good fortunes I have in this position is I get sort of a backstage view to a lot of the heroism that goes on that people never hear about, and it's absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah. It is indeed. Wow, that's amazing. So, just a bit of what's going on with COVID and tying in, heroes. You make everything look so effortless,
Truly.
first and foremost.
Truly.
The way you just come in and, you're very decisive and intentional. Just hearing that story alone of how you named the station after this retired paramedic. So with the homeless shelters, I'm super curious. The homeless shelter that's off of 95. What's going on with that facility in housing those who did not have a home during the time of COVID?
So I got elected for the first time 5 years ago in 2016. Homelessness is a problem that has been very close to my heart pretty much my whole life. In junior high, I started working with the homeless in Wilmington, Emmanuel Dining Room, things like that. My senior year in high school, I was given sort of the last month to do an independent study project, and I went and worked with Habitat for Humanity. I wanted people who didn't have homes to have homes and be able to experience home ownership. And I thought if I'm ever in an elected official position, I'll be able to do something about it. In most of my first 4 years, there was a dramatic decrease in the availability of shelter space. You might remember the Rick Van Story Center, RVRC, right there on, I guess it's 2nd Street, Lancaster. Yeah, the old, I think it's an old ABC or WHYY TV studio. That went out of business. It was shut down or closed a few years ago. The YMCA was starting to scale down some of its shelter. So more and more I was hearing from homeless advocates pre-COVID, there's nowhere for people to go. You layer on top of that with COVID, you couldn't have the same capacity levels at shelters. You might remember COVID, it really started here March, April, about this time a year ago. The weather was nice. It was starting to get colder in October, November, December, and the shelters just didn't have the space. We were working with the state throughout COVID, we in the county, and Wilmington, Newark, and Middletown, all the cities, to house people in motels, and that space was limited as well. So we kind of put 2 and 2 together. We said, let's set up an emergency place, and let's make it the best shelter we can imagine. Let's have wraparound services. Let's treat people with dignity like never before. And let's make it a place where there's a clear transition. You come in, you get services, whether it's drug, alcohol, family, domestic issues, job placement, house. Some people just need to find a house, right?
Yes.
Whatever it is, we provide all those services, job training. And so we're a long way there. We offer a lot of that. Now there's Christiana Care has a facility on site. It's actually the former penthouse suite.
Oh, wow.
So we acquired the hotel on December 1st. There was a bidding. The hotel went out of business, so it was going up for auction. And so we were competing against.
Was that during COVID?
During COVID, in like October, November. It was brought to me, I think, in early to mid-November. And so we closed on the purchase December 1st. And I just told my team, it's not going to be perfect. We're not going to have all the wraparound services on day one. I want it to be safe. I want people to have a warm place to sleep, and I want them to have food. I don't want anyone to get hurt. And with those restrictions, just open it as quickly as possible. So it took them 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, they took a hotel. They make segregated entrances for people with COVID symptoms. There was a separate COVID floor. And so we closed on December 1st, December 15th. We opened the door for, I think, 73 guests in partnership with Friendship House. We brought in some incredible partners, faithful friends. Animals are incredibly important to a lot of homeless individuals and families, mental health, sometimes physical health, having an animal. So we want to make sure the animals that are there are healthy. It's what's called a low barrier shelter. A lot of shelters will say you have to be a single man of this age, or you have to, be a woman who've had certain experiences, or no families, or only 2 children. We take everyone.
Aren't you tired? You're just.
I have a great staff. You got to remember, on the Matt, Carrie Casey, Nicole Waters, like Will Davis in my law department, Michael Smith, finance. Like they're working long hours to make sure I can.
So how does that work? Do you guys just get together and assess the communities and how? Because you are doing a lot.
How do you know what to work on next? Like, what do you go for? It seems like you have such a large view of the needs within the communities here. How do you become decisive of what to attack first?
So with COVID, we sat as a group and we set forth 3 priorities that we wanted to work on. Like, there were a lot of things, a lot of distractions, all sorts of issues. The most important was eradicating the virus from our community. So anything that dealt with eradicating that kind of came first. And that's one reason why I had calls with Korean test sellers and Chinese. Like, we were looking at all this stuff in March when nobody could get testing. We were trying to find it wherever we could find it, because my first responsibility was to do whatever I could to identify and eradicate this virus. That's how we ended up in our sewers testing COVID-19, really leading the nation doing that. That was the first goal. The second goal was protecting the most vulnerable. And I like to say that there's sort of 2 groups. There's chronically vulnerable people, like homeless, who were at risk and vulnerable before the pandemic, and it got worse or stayed the same throughout the pandemic. Then there were other people who I spoke to who are 3rd, 4th generation small business owners, own restaurants, own laundromats, right, owned theaters or worked in the theater, who suddenly their whole livelihood, maybe they were excellent at what they did, maybe they were thriving and had plenty of money, but suddenly there was nothing. And so making sure we dealt and with the most vulnerable. And then the third was bringing our economy back, doing anything we could to plant the seeds to bring us back stronger. So we did some pretty cool stuff. Dell State has an advanced genomics lab right now on Kirkwood Highway, right here. Dell State, based in Dover, has a great, what they call a Wilmington campus, but it's really a Newcastle County campus that we're really proud of. And hats off to Dr. Tony Allen, Dr. Patrice Gilliam, and everyone over there for their tremendous work.
Amazing.
Now, did you get vaccinated?
I did, yeah. I waited my turn. I was really eager. I'm just under the 65 threshold. That's a joke.
I was like,
I'm not that close,
because I wouldn't believe that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't believe that.
I'm not that close, but no, yeah, I did get vaccinated about 2 weeks ago. About 2 weeks ago, I actually got vaccinated at the Hope Center. Gotcha. So with the residents.
Now, are you guys hoping to do that at the homeless shelter?
At the Hope Center, we already did it.
Okay.
Yeah, we made sure that they had the opportunity. I'm encouraging people. What we're seeing and hearing now is that there are appointments that are not being taken. So please go online, Division of Public Health, Walgreens, Rite Aid, wherever you can find a vaccine appointment. Encourage friends and family to do it. What we're hearing is that this elusive herd immunity, which herd immunity can mean a lot of things, and I know people have a lot of feelings about the virus. The bottom line is, if we want to put these masks away, if we want to go back and enjoy ourselves, play, play basketball, baseball, football in big stadiums, if we want to go to theater, if we want to go to the latest movie theater and pack it in, if we want to go and have a good time with friends, we need to make sure everybody gets vaccinated to get this virus out of our community.
Now, is there anything that you feel that the community can do to help the Hope Center at all? Like, is there any ways that that there's a lot of folks that live in the county and the city?
Contribute?
Yeah, how can we help?
So the first thing is go to nccehopecenterinc.com, nccehopecenterinc.com. If that's too hard to remember, just type NCC Hope Center into Facebook. They have a running list of the assistance that they need. I've been totally humbled. We committed $19.5 million to purchase that hotel in December. It's not increasing anyone's taxes at all, but it was still a difficult decision. Anytime you're committing those kind of resources, it weighs on you. I should add that when we proposed it, one of the few things, we actually got unanimous support from County Council, so hats off to the 13 members of County Council for all supporting. But one thing I didn't really think much about is how much the Hope Center would really be a source of hope, not just for the residents there, but for the whole community. The number of people and individuals and organizations that have come forward and simply want to help is inspiring to me, and I think helps all of us do a little bit more and understand that, hey, we all have a responsibility, no matter what your job is, to take care of each other.
Just a ballpark, what would you say is like the number of folks that you find going to the Hope Center that you're assisting?
There are about 260, I believe, who live there now, including over 100 children. So that's one of the many shelters don't take children. So the intake process, if you know anyone who's homeless or at threat of losing their home, have them call 211. 211 is kind of the magic number you call, and they'll help get you in. You cannot just show up there.
I just had an idea, because you said the intake process is probably intense with that number of people, right? Have you thought of possibly even reaching out to like maybe the social work department for any of these universities? Because I know a lot of individuals that are in social work could probably be of benefit.
To do the intake is actually done by Housing Alliance of Delaware in partnership with the Delaware Department of Health and Social Services. There are an extraordinary number of partners. We purchased the facility, and so many groups have come forward, and without them, it would not be the success that it is. We are also working with University of Delaware, developing metrics. How do we define success in the Hope Center? And organizations or departments like the Department of Social Work are really helping out.
That's awesome. So you said NCC Hope?
nccehopecenterinc.com. What I do is I just type NCC Hope Center into Facebook.
Awesome.
Gotcha. So,
All
well, I
right.
can't thank you enough for
Thank
coming.
you so much.
Can I just add one more plug? We're at something that's really close to my heart.
You are the county exec. You can say whatever you want.
Some of you may know that 3 months ago, I marked the 10-year anniversary, the decade anniversary of me coming home 4 months ago from Iraq, where I was a diplomat for a year. And I lived on a military base there.
Did not know.
And one of the extraordinary experiences that I had there was getting to know a lot of Muslim people, celebrating, living in a country that was predominantly Islam. And we're approaching the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Good. And each day, as you might know, our Muslim brothers and sisters, hundreds of millions of people all over the world, fast all day. And at night, they, when the sun goes down, they pray, and then they have dinner, and they often get together in community feasts called iftar dinners. And one of my best experiences in Iraq was when he threw an iftar dinner for the whole Iraqi community. All these warring factions, people in the room that did not like each other, came together. They broke bread and broke it in a common spirit of humanity and unity. Iftar dinners are happening now all across our country, really, and all across the world, bringing different faiths together, saying, can we do this as a people? The county is holding its iftar dinner on Tuesday night. We started it 4 years ago. Of course, it was limited because you can only invite a certain number of people in a room. One of the beauties, one of the silver linings of COVID is, of course, we're doing it online, which means that there's no limit. So I encourage you to go to Newcastle County's Facebook page Tuesday night at 7 o'clock and see what an iftar dinner's like. You might learn a little something.
That's awesome.
You never cease to amaze.
I know. Thank you for serving our country.
Yes.
Wow.
I appreciate that. I did not know you did half of that.
So I was a diplomat embedded with the military. So
still, that's service.
You've earned a day of rest. Yes, you have earned a day of rest.
Yes.
Thank goodness. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for what you're doing. It's important public service.
No, and thanks for educating us on all the work that you've been
Thanks,
doing.
and keep writing opinion pieces.
Listen, I got another one coming.
I read
you know
them.
me.
I know.
I'm just going
full of opinions.
I know. Yeah.
So-
No, there's a tremendous opportunity right now, a unique opportunity. Heck, a guy was on Newcastle County Council as President of the United States. These problems that we talk about, he right here in Delaware, he understands them intimately. He knows a lot of the people, and we have resources like we haven't had before to really solve problems.
And you don't have to be elected to serve.
No,
just serve.
You're my boss. If you're registered and you vote in Newcastle County, you're my boss.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you, County Exec. A
Thank you
special
so much.
thank you to our County Executive Matt Meyer for coming out, and we will see you.
Thank you so much, Sherry and Matt, for those interviews. That was a great time. Up next, we have DETV CEO himself, Ivan Thomas.
What up,
Hey, Ivan? How
What
are
up,
you?
man?
How are you doing? You guys are doing a phenomenal job.
We in your house, man.
No.
We in
Having
your
fun
house.
with you.
You know the rule is mikasa sukasa.
Hey,
I love
so I can
that.
take my
I
shoes
love
off?
that.
Take your shoe, girl.
I can sit on the couch.
Yes.
We welcome
Yes.
to the cookout.
Yes.
We can come do the butt.
What doing the butt? At the
Glenn
cookout.
Close.
At the cookout.
At the cookout.
But first, who's making
I
the
love
potato
it.
salad?
With the
Okay.
potato salad.
Who's making the potato salad?
No
Right.
raisins.
God, no raisins, please, no
But,
raisins.
but seriously, you guys are doing a phenomenal
Thanks,
job.
Thank you so
The
much.
last interview with Matt Meyer was substance.
Man,
Substance.
he-
And he was excited
he's
about it.
amazing.
He's substance.
Yeah.
The work that he does is substance.
Yeah.
Indeed.
That man is just humble, but is just knocking out the park.
Yeah.
I love
As
it.
are you.
Right, tell us, like, what's new going on at DETV? I'm curious.
There's so much that we're doing here, especially with our partners and in partnerships that we formed throughout the community and throughout the state of Delaware. Partners such as the governor's office in the state of Delaware to get the COVID messaging out. The Franklin Institute, the Ben Franklin Institute.
Hey, now.
Christiana Care about getting information out about sickle cell, helping them with that. That is just simply amazing in itself. We are working, if you haven't heard, we are now moved in to 1105 North Market Street.
Okay.
And that is
Nice.
our premiere at the IMP Plaza, our news, DETV 28 News.
So exciting, oh my gosh.
Wait, is that the same office as our Congresswoman?
As the Congresswoman
What?
and the
Oh.
United States Senator, yes, sure.
Well, look at that.
Yeah.
Moving on up.
We're moving.
To the Congresswoman's office.
Well, actually,
But it's not her actual office, right?
We're first floor at the old I think it's HSBC
Bank. Yeah, the bank. Yeah.
So it is a beautiful spot. The whole idea is to get Wilmington pride, Delaware pride, and just like Fox 29, you'll be able to walk by in IMP
Yes.
Plaza and see us at DETV.
That's
rocking out.
exciting.
Just like Matt, just all
I
humble.
know.
Like I'm doing all this work. I do him win.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
Come on.
but that's the
Look at you,
thing.
Just doing the thing.
That's the thing, being humble. Like remember back when I first started,
Yeah.
I had to be humble to get to the
Yeah.
door. And now that I'm at the door, I'm
And
in
you're
the door.
passing the torch.
And I'm passing the torch.
Yeah.
And there's a seat that I'm available, that I'm at. It's only in me to be humble. Like
That's
this is not an Ivan thing. This is not even a DETV thing. This is a Delaware thing, right? And my team are the ones that's also making it possible. So
And you got an awesome team.
I love it. Listen,
Shout
I'm
out
going
to
to say it
Sam
for
and
you.
everybody
You
else
did
here.
it twice.
They're doing the thing.
Skating
Your
on
whole team, Dennis, everybody, they're knocking it out the park.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
So we have a bunch of shows. We have the news with Lauren Wilson. We have
The anchor?
bro,
Lauren Wilson?
Lauren Wilson.
The Lauren Wilson?
Old ABC Lauren Wilson.
That's amazing.
I don't need to be here anymore. You guys got the legend.
I'm trying to tell you. Oh, but with that, we also have the amazing Renee Ellison, who's going to do her segment, her show called Your Delaware.
Okay.
Interviewing the who's who, the what's, and the why nots.
Well, all right.
That is going to be just crazy. And then we also have Kerwin Gaines with the agenda, our version of a legislative review,
Nice.
talking about city government to down what's happening down in Dover,
Okay.
and the municipalities in between, and all that great stuff.
Real
So
nice.
we're excited. We're a young team. We're young media guys and gals and women, and that's what we do.
Young,
we're doing
gifted, and educated.
I love
I'm
it.
just,
Yes, make a
y'all
move.
doing it.
Shout out to the issue. Gotta give my Hornets love everywhere I go. They made this
Young,
monster.
gifted, and educated.
I love it.
Well, I can't thank you enough for allowing us to be here to
Thank
fill
you.
in. I really appreciate it. You're always giving the extension of the hand, and I can't thank you enough, man.
I
Yes,
can't
it's
thank
been
you
fun.
because you guys made what we're calling this now is the new Good Morning Wilmington. You guys
Okay.
did an excellent job again, so thank you so much and really appreciate you guys.
Oh yeah,
Thank
you're
you
a
for
great coach.
having us.
Thanks for having us.
Keep it going.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
thank you again, Ivan, for all the work that you're doing, and everyone enjoy your day.